So thank you for joining us on this free training. My name is Steve Mark. I'm the founder and CEO of GetMoreLeadsLocally.com. We are a digital marketing agency that specializes in growing and scaling trades businesses. So it's what we do, it's what we specialize in. And I'm just sharing this free training for you today just to give you some insight and some background and a little bit more detail on the strategy that we use to help grow trades businesses across the UK. It's an effective strategy that is starting to help transition business owners from getting off the tools and becoming the visionary in their business instead of the employee. So we've got a few slides which we're going to go through, and I'm just going to walk you through the process that we go through. This is a proven business growth model, and it's helping trades across the UK to get off the tools. It's based on proven marketing best practices. So it's not any sort of get rich quick scheme or anything like that. These are sound marketing best practices. And it's led by an experienced team of digital marketers headed up by myself. So what we're going to cover today is why should you have a strategy in your business? The differences between the long game and the short game, which, as you'll see as this plays out, are the two fundamental strategies that we have working. Why you need a solid pre-game. So why do you need to be set up properly from the start? What is the pre-game? What is the long game? What's the short game strategy? And putting it all together to create a winning strategy. So as you'll tell, this is all about strategy. This is all about putting in place a strategic framework in your business to tip the odds of success in your favor. So the first thing I just want to talk about is why have a marketing strategy? I would say for 99% of the people watching this call, you probably don't have a marketing strategy, or you've not had one in your business before. And I just want to talk you through just a few points as to why you should have a marketing strategy. So the first one is it provides you clarity over your future direction. So it helps guide your thinking. It definitely helps you deliver your business goals. So if you think about a waterfall, at the top of the waterfall are your business goals. And as you come over the waterfall, that feeds into your marketing strategy. And your marketing strategy is there to deliver your business goals. It can help reduce long-term and short-term stress. So by having clarity over your thinking and your direction, it can certainly take away some of the stresses of the choices that you have to make in your business, because they're already laid out in your strategy. The fourth one is it definitely helps deliver profitable growth in the business. So by understanding and having a strategy that works, it definitely saves you a lot of time, money and effort and heartache on trying things that just don't work. And the strategy that we've put together is working, has worked, and continues to work for trades businesses. And I'm going to share that with you on this call. It enables faster decisions. So if you've got a strategy in place and you have a decision to make in your business regarding your brand or your marketing, then you can refer back to your strategy and be guided by that. This is one of the most powerful ones. It helps you build an asset of your business. So by having a marketing strategy that delivers sustainable growth for your business, it enables you to think of your business as an asset. Instead of you being the sole employee, you can then start to scale the business, and your business in the medium term and long term will become a valuable asset that maybe you can either sell one day or pass on, or certainly help you transition to get off the tools. And then the final one that I've listed there is it just increases your chances of success. No strategy is perfect. No strategy guarantees results, but it does increase the chances of success over and above your competition. So this is fundamentally what we want to help you to do. So is transition from the person that is on the tools, you know, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, however long, to somebody that is now more considered as the entrepreneur in the business, the visionary within the business. And that's definitely achievable for everyone that we work with. It requires obviously a shift in mindset, and you need to be comfortable with making that transition from being on the tools all the time to somebody that's off the tools. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it takes time and it takes dedication. And you know what? Sometimes you might not want to be fully off the tools, but actually having that choice can be really important for some people. I just want you to take a moment and even pause this video. And I just want you to think about visualizing, you know, what it can mean to you to get off the tools. And what I mean by that is not, this is not going to happen overnight. This is not something that you can wake up tomorrow and just, you know, unless you win the lottery, you know, you can't just, it's not going to happen overnight. But I just want you to think about having a vision in your head as to what it means to actually get more time back in the week, to empower yourself and your business to be able to run, you know, without you at the helm, you know, almost 24/7. So, you know, it could mean spending more time with your family, with your partner, wife, husband, you know, but certainly having more time with your kids if you've got kids, or just having more time, you know, with family and loved ones. You know, it could mean, you know, having more time to watch your kids play soccer. You know, it could mean, and depending on when you're watching this video, of course, it could mean having more time to spend with your friends at weekends. So instead of you know, working weekends, having that flexibility to take time off over the weekend, knowing that your business is still going to function without you driving it at the helm. And then finally, whatever hobbies or interests you've got, having more time to spend, you know, doing those. So I just want you to take a moment, pause the video if you need to, but just think about what it means for you to be able to, you know, grow and scale your business to the point where you can start to transition to being fully off the tools. So I just want to talk a little bit about the benefits of having a long-term strategy as well as short-term. Lots of businesses that we first come into contact with, they will have very short-term thinking. So they will be running, you know, they could be running Facebook ads, or they could be running, you know, Google ads, which are fine, but it does mean you have to keep feeding the machine, you know, to get the return. So you end up with this cycle of, as you can see on the bottom graph there, of these spikes. So, you know, you invest money in your marketing, you get the results, but the results tail off when you stop spending the money. So there is another way, and it's more around building the brand and building a sustainable flow of inquiries coming into your business. And this is done by investing in growing your brand for the long term. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's a visual way of looking at the two different strategies: the short game, which is that immediate kind of burst of getting the phones ringing, and actually having a long-term strategy, which is around, you know, building your brand, building your digital footprint for a sustainable future for your business. And over time, you get this incremental lift in sales, because you start to dominate the search engines, your business starts to dominate in your local area, and obviously as you expand and you start to dominate other areas, you just repeat the same process. So really, you know, now is the time to start thinking about how you're going to move ahead of your competition. You know, I can almost guarantee that your competition won't be thinking this way, won't be thinking strategically. Most businesses don't. So you have an opportunity to really get ahead of your competition. So this is how the strategy plays out, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail about each element of the strategy. So the first part of the strategy is the pre-game. So this is getting your business set up for success. It's having a really solid foundation before you start spending any money on marketing, before you start doing any tactics. It's just making sure that you've got everything set up to be able to measure and track what you're doing. Then we get into the short game, where for some businesses there is a need to get immediate traction, and to get leads, inquiries flowing into their business, and the short game we'll go through in a few moments. Then you've got this, the long game approach, this, building of the brand, building of the digital footprint that the business has, and really starting to dominate your local area with regards to Google My Business, with regards to local search, your website, your data, everything around the long game. And then put those three together, and then you start to build a really solid platform for your business where you've got this lead machine that's generating these inquiries coming into your business, and it starts to give you options. It starts to enable you to scale your business further. So if you've got a small team working for you, it will start to enable you and give you the confidence to be able to then take that transition and take that leadership role in the business, be the entrepreneur, be the visionary, and be the one that's guiding the business, not working in the business all the time. And then when you have a founder or a CEO of a business that's able to think more strategically and able to take more time working on the business rather than working in the business, then that fuels real long-term business growth. And of course, everything that we do and everything that we encourage you to do is to measure, review, progress on every element of your business. Because there's one thing for sure, if it's not being measured, it's definitely not being managed. So that's one of the real cores of what we do, is make sure that the marketing that we do is measurable and trackable, so we can see the progress that the business is making. And of course, make sure that we're delivering the golden ROI back into the business. So I just want to share with you a little bit of a deeper dive into this long and the short game strategy. So we talked a few moments ago about the pre-game, and this is what the pre-game looks like. It's we want to bring together all your assets, so visual assets, audio assets, video assets, and we want to bring them together and house them somewhere. We're going to go through these in just a little bit more detail in a moment, so I'll just be really brief as I rattle these off. Tagging and tracking your website, setting objectives right from the start of the project, making sure that you've got a CRM system, and gathering data and insights is your pre-game. Then we mix that with your short game strategy, which is things like getting you set up for Google Ads, running social media ads if they're applicable, having referral campaigns in place to leverage existing customers and existing goodwill that your business has. Then you've got this long game, which is your SEO development, your Google My Business listing, managing your reputation, and creating great value content. And you put those three together and it equals sustained business growth. So you've got your pre-game, which is setting yourself up for success. You've got the short game, which is delivering quick revenue for the business. And then built on that quick revenue, then that gives you more to then invest in the long game and build a sustainable asset and sales growth. So I just want to cover just some of the benefits of the long game and short game strategy. So first, looking at the long game. So it helps to build the brand. So if you have this long-term thinking in your business, it helps you to build the brand locally and build this digital footprint. In many cases, it will lower price sensitivity. So rather than it being a race to the bottom because you've spent time building your brand and building your local reputation and building your digital footprint and dominating your area, it then starts to negate the conversation around pricing. It helps you build long-term volume increases. So obviously it's a compound effect. The more customers you have, it gives you then access to friends and family, and with the right referral schemes in place, then that gives you the ability then to scale even more. Definitely helps you to create your business as an asset that has worth. For many small businesses, if you took the founder out of the business is worthless. So by building for the long term and building this sustainable business is helping you create an asset. It's giving you a strong brand story. So it's, the more you build the brand and the more you invest in the brand, it gives you a better story to tell which again has this compound effect. And it starts to move you from being a commodity service to a branded service, which is how the big players have mastered it, and how they've dominated particular areas of the sector that you may work in. And now I just want to cover off the short game. So it definitely generates sales uplift from the get-go. It's definitely a great way to drive immediate revenue into the business, to then give you capital to then invest in the further growth of the business. It rarely changes brand perception. So it's almost the opposite of lowering price sensitivity. It doesn't necessarily change the perception of your brand because it is based on short-term campaigns. There's no long-term increase in sales. It's very difficult to scale a business purely on one strategy and one strategy alone. And as I covered there, it's very seldom reduces the price sensitivity, because you're not building the story around the business. You're not building the footprint of the business locally. You're not dominating. As soon as you get to that dominating stage, then you can reduce sensitivity around pricing. So it's really a balancing act between the short and the long game. And there really is no magic formula to this. So what I tend to sort of guide clients on is just think about investing 50% of your time and your budget in your long game. So building your reputation, building up your assets, the great, stock photography, photos of you and your team with your vans, sign written vans, getting all your fleet sign written. So it's really about investing in the long game, but also investing 50% of your time and budget in your short game. And that so far has proved to be a winning formula. There's no hard and fast rule. And if one particular part of the strategy is working well, then just go and invest more into it. So I just want to take a little break from the slide deck and just give you a quick introduction as to who I am and why you should listen to me. So I've spoken at numerous events to do with marketing and digital marketing over my career. So I come from a place of authority. I understand the industry. I've worked with trades businesses for the last 10 years in various capacities. I'm an experienced marketing strategist that has worked at board level. So I worked formerly on the board of Vanarama as their marketing director. And during my time there, again, gained extra insight into trades businesses, because predominantly they were the customers that we sold to. So I've built this great understanding of trades businesses, and what we do here is not for everybody. And that's probably the most important thing to get from this. This is for ambitious trades business owners that want to transition from, being on the tools all day, every day, to becoming off the tools. And maybe they don't want to do it permanently or full time. Maybe they enjoy what they do day to day, and that's fine. But it's giving them the options of being able to step a little bit back from the business and become more operationally involved and lead and guide the strategy. And my specialism is in digital marketing, search engine optimization, lead generation through Google Ads, through Facebook, website optimization. So I come with a broad range of skills that can help me understand what each business needs to do to dominate their local area. And we're also backed up by a team of people that help me run Google Ads, run Facebook ads, help with SEO. So this is why you should be listening to what I've got to say, because I come from a place of authority within the industry. So I'm going to go through just in a little bit more detail each of the strategies. So the first one is the pre-game strategy, and this is setting your business up for success. So what does this look like? So this is collating your assets, so making sure that all your brand assets are brought together and are stored somewhere. We'd normally recommend Google Drive or Dropbox, but just making sure that all the assets that you generate are off of your phone, off of your team's phones, and brought together under one roof. As I say, Google Drive or Dropbox is great for that. Crafting your story, you know, as the founder of the business, your story is really strong and really powerful. And where businesses go wrong is they don't tell that story. They don't bring that story to the fore. Stories, you know, features tell, stories sell is the old adage. And your story is really powerful in selling your business to your prospective customers. So it's bringing together photos, videos, any audio content, anything like that, and collating all your assets together into one place. The second step of having a really strong pre-game is setting goals. So how do we define success? How many leads or inquiries do you need coming into your business? You know, what's the cost per lead that the business can afford? You know, and thinking about how we can then improve that to make it even more profitable. What conversion rates does your website need to have to deliver the maximum number of visitors to leads or inquiries? And what's your big, hairy, audacious goal? So what's the, you know, the big goal that's driving the business in these next 12 months, and how can the marketing impact that? The third part of this setting up the pre-game is making sure that, you know, every one of your websites is properly tracked. So we have Google Analytics, and we have things like the Facebook Pixel installed, so we can track visitors and make sure that we're reporting accurately on activity on your website and various platforms. And then the final one, tracking, sort of leads into data and insights. So what we would normally do when we start a project is gather all the data together. So data on your existing customers, on who's using your social media platforms, who's visiting your social media pages. If you have Google Analytics running, we'd look at that data and analyze that and see where people are coming from. If you've done customer surveys, we'd be interested in looking at that, and we'd certainly encourage our clients to run annual customer surveys to get feedback and make improvements to their service. And also customer reviews, so making sure that you've got this supply of customer reviews coming into your business that then can be repurposed elsewhere in your business. So that's setting up the pre-game, and that's what we do to make sure that we can deliver success on every project. And regardless whether we work with you or somebody else, you know, these are fundamental to driving success. And as I said before, if it's not being measured, it's not being managed. We've also got the short game strategy, which is driving results from the get-go. So this is around setting up Google ad campaigns. So we'd want to define your core offering. So you need to think about, you know, the power of being more narrow in your approach is really, really key. So rather than trying to be a jack of all trades and master of a few, we would encourage you to define a real core offering. If kitchens and bathrooms are your thing, be kitchens and bathrooms. If it's boilers, be boilers. If it's a particular boiler, Ideal, Worcester Bosch, Valiant, you know, be known for one thing rather than being too broad, is the advice I would always give. Then we need to define your locations. Where do you want to sell locally? Which areas, which towns, which suburbs. Then we want to set your campaigns up, and then you want to make sure that everything's being tracked and optimized. And then once you've found that magic formula of conversions, is just continue to repeat, refine and repeat. Social media is part of the short game. So getting your account set up properly, you know, build that local following, grow and develop your know, like, and trust, and establish your local authority. And then what will happen fairly quickly is you will start to develop leads from your social media. People will message your page. You can be running Facebook ads to grow your local awareness through Facebook. And it's just a great way to complement the other strategy of Google ads. Customer referrals. So this is great, you know, straight off the bat. If you've got a a customer database. You want to be making sure that you're making them aware that you have this customer referral scheme in place, so that you can promote it to them and again continue to improve it. Typically what we've sort of worked on is kind of a 50-50. So you could offer 50% of the reward to the person who's buying the product or service, and then offer 50% reward to the person who's referred them to you. And that normally works quite well. There's rewards all around then. So the short game is the part of the strategy that delivers leads from the get-go, whilst your long game strategy is taking time to kick in. And here we are, the long game strategy. So building your brand and a sustainable lead machine that you own. And that's really important because, a lot of businesses are using Checkatrade, Rated People, My Builder, and they're great. And they're great for getting traction. And I would always encourage you to sort of investigate using those. But you don't own, that data. That data is still owned by a third party. And although that customer becomes yours, fundamentally you're still reliant on those platforms. So really this is about building your own lead machine. So the first step in that process is your SEO, and part of that refers back to defining this core offering. So what do you want to be known as locally? Building out local pages that are built for the search engines and for your customers to draw them into your business. Helping you build citations so that Google develops and grows the trust in your domain name. Monitoring your site speed. So one of the ranking factors in Google is how quick your website loads. And then there's this continual cycle of optimizing all of those core elements of SEO: on page, off page, SEO technical, link building, and then it's just this optimization and repeat process. Google My Business is just the most underused tool in businesses' armory, and I see it all the time, and it really hurts when I see it, because I just think this is a free service from Google. Yes, it takes a little bit of time to get it set up, and you need to be constantly updating it and again optimizing it. But 15 to 20% or more of your leads could be coming through this free tool that you're not paying to use. So I'd really urge you to have a look at that. And this is part of your long game. Set up a Google My Business page. You might start getting some traction in a few weeks' time, but ultimately, it can take a few months before it really starts to gain traction. And some of the business on there will have been there for years. But one of the things you can do is develop your reputation. So build your reputation management systems. So making sure that every customer that you touch and you do work for has a follow-up where they're encouraged to leave a review for you. And if you are using other platforms like Checkatrade and like My Builder or Rated People, I would still say you still want to be looking to build your reviews on Google, because you will own them. Again, if those platforms went under, you would lose all that history, all that work that you'd put in. Google's going nowhere. So, spread your focus, but make sure you're building your reputation on Google, because it's so important. And creating content, and content is really important to build your authority locally. So it could be having blogs written, articles written on your website. It could be how you post on social media. It could be doing how-to videos. It could be any of those, but you want to mix up your content, and you want to be building content that demonstrates your authority and helps you quickly get through that know, like, trust phase that consumers go through. And it's building your assets, and some of these assets you can reuse on other social media platforms at other times. So the long game helps develop the brand by growing your authority in both the eyes of Google and, most importantly, your target customer. However, results can take 3 to 6 months, which is why we have this long and short-term strategic approach. So putting it all together is the pre-game, the short game, and the long game. And that's in essence what we're trying to do. This is a little bit more detail on, the process that we go through. And I'm happy to share this with you because I think there's some great stuff in there. And you know, these are really, just think of this as switching on a light bulb for you. So how many of these are you doing in your business, you know, to gain awareness locally and to build this short and long term approach? So have a look at that slide. You know, this is what we use. You know, this is what works. So I'm going to share with you a case study. So this is Jordan. Started working with Jordan about a year ago in, depending on when you're watching this, we started working in March 2020. And he's a plumbing and heating business owner, traded for just over 15 years, built his business by word of mouth. But, you know, growth had sort of kind of hit a bit of a glass ceiling, stagnating. Typically working very long hours, working weekends, working evenings, a jack of all trades in his business, doing the admin, answering the phones, you know, doing all that. So essentially, you know, he's an employee in his own business. There's no other way to dress it up. But he did have this mindset and this desire, and has this mindset to grow the business and eventually start to transition to becoming off the tools. Although he loves what he does, I think having that freedom to be able to take a few weeks off, go on holiday, knowing that the business is still functioning, is still running, accounts are still being done, you know, payments are still being taken, is really important. And he didn't have a strategy, and he didn't have direction. He was just dealing with what's in front of his eyes. So we started working with him. I started working with him in March 2020. The first thing we did was set up a new website that was sales optimized, focused, optimized for getting those conversions in. We put the tracking in place to make sure that we knew where the visitors were coming from, what they were doing on his website, and then we could start to make improvements to really improve his conversion rate. Started to build his local digital presence. So part of the short and long game, you know, building the Facebook ads, but also, building the Facebook page, but also at the same time, you know, got immediate traction coming through the Google ad campaigns. And while we were doing that, sort of building the Facebook presence, getting reviews coming in to improve his reputation, whilst we then did, you know, the long game stuff, which is, you know, the SEO, Google My Business, you know, really building on that, getting the citations. So these links into lots of local business directories to give Google, you know, the authority and the confidence to rank your site well. But we didn't just stop there. You know, we've worked with him on putting a CRM in place to make sure that the leads are being captured and tracked. Job management software, which has helped reduce the amount of admin that he's doing and has given him at least 4 to 6 hours back in the week. Card terminal to take credit and debit cards, just to, you know, start to improve the offering, you know, that he can compete then with British Gas by having finance. So we worked with him to get up and running with Worcester Bosch and Hitachi to be an appointed representative able to offer finance, and, you know, put in place, you know, referral scheme to make sure that he's leveraging existing customers. So the results, this is how we track it. And I just wanted to share this with you. This is how, you know, granular we can sort of go. So we know how much has been spent on Google Ads. And this is just a snapshot of one campaign over a period of time. We can see how much the cost per click is. So it's costing, about £3.15. So that's every time somebody clicks on his ad and goes through to his landing pages, that's how much it was costing. And then we can see there that we've gained 34 new inquiries in that snapshot of time. And this was a campaign that has been running continually. So we can see there that, we can track exactly how much is being spent, exactly how much it's costing at a real granular level. This is Google My Business. I just wanted to throw this in here just so you can see, again, through the control panel, through the admin area, you can track who's doing what on your Google My Business listing. So this was over a 4-week period. It generated 27 clicks through from the Google My Business listing. This is quite a fresh listing, so this hasn't been around for too long. So we're actually quite pleased with these early results. So 27 visits, and then somebody clicked the call button or tapped the call button 15 times. So that was another 15 phone calls added to the the 34 for that particular period. And then this is just going through how we track and measure SEO results. So we have a tracker running that looks at search engine placings, and I just want to highlight 2 or 3 results, which again, it's early days. We've only been running SEO for sort of 4 to 6 months, so it's still quite early days, but we are seeing some early traction, and this is how it's measured. So we can see there, boiler servicing, page 1, position 10, boiler repairs, position 2 of page 1, and boiler installation, position 2 of page 1. So really strong early results. And that's how we start to measure it. So you can sort of see there, when you're running the 2 strategies together, you start to dominate, the homepage of Google, which is exactly where you want to be. And proximity related, the map pack in the middle here, again, that could be a 3rd spot. So you could actually end up with 3 spots on that homepage of Google, and that's really dominating your local search. So the summary of everything that's happened as a result of this long and short game strategy. Approximately a 3 times uplift in new inquiries. And this has been running this also through a pandemic as well, which has caused some interruption to business and trading. There's a new suite of stock images, one that you can see there, professional images that have been taken. So he's averaging now between 90 and 100 new inquiries per month. Local search visibility now for key search terms, as we saw on the previous slide. Average cost per lead coming in at about £10 to £12 because we've increased and improved the conversion rates of the landing pages. Huge growth in his local reputation now, with over 60 positive 5-star reviews on Facebook and Google. And now he has the data, and data is really important. So he has the data and that ability then to scale the business faster. So he knows how much it's costing per lead. He knows how many leads he needs to gain a new customer. So then you can start to make intelligent decisions about the business. And he's starting to scale. He's got a new engineer and a new apprentice coming on board. And like I said, campaign data to guide the future budget. So if he wants to take on a new engineer and he needs, 2-3 jobs a day to keep that engineer busy, then he knows how much he has to put in at the top of the funnel to get the results coming out at the bottom of the funnel. And he's got, of course, this pathway now to getting off the tools. And it doesn't happen overnight. These results have taken 6 to 9 months to get to this point, but he has this pathway now to start to release him a little bit from the business. And working together, it's been a great relationship, and it continues to be a great relationship of working together to deliver these results. It doesn't come without working in a partnership sort of sense. So, as you will have gathered, sort of from this training, strategy is about making choices. It's about choosing where to put your business, where not to put your business. It's about choosing what platforms to use, what platforms not to use. And it's as important choosing what not to do as it is choosing what to do. Because if you end up wasting a lot of time and effort on tactics that just aren't working, you can lose a lot of time and a lot of money doing that. So this is a strategy that we know works. It's worked multiple times, and it is growing trades businesses around the UK. So you have a choice, and you can continue to do what you've always done. And as the old saying goes, you'll always get what you've always got, or you can choose to be more strategic in your planning and your thinking. And you can do that on your own with the information that you've got from this free training, or you can schedule a call and we can have a chat and we can talk about how we can implement this strategy in your business. So the three questions I'd like to ask you is, did you find this free training useful? Hopefully you have. There's a lot of detail in there, and the reason it's recorded is you can skip back and go to the parts that maybe just need a bit more clarification on. If you have any questions, you can email them to me, and that will be on the page along with this video. Or you can schedule a call, just a free strategy discovery call, and we can have a sensible chat about your business, where you're at the moment, where you want to get to, and figure out and plot a way that we can make it happen for you. So thank you for watching. It's an intense training, but hopefully you've got a lot from it. Hopefully you've got a lot of value from it. And let's jump on that free strategy discovery call. It's a call of about 30 minutes, but it really does help to unlock any questions in your head and help to give you a bit of a vision for the future and how you might be able to get to transition, off the tools, which ultimately will give you a bit more freedom. And go back to that slide, that vision slide, and just imagine what it would be like to have a little bit more time back in the week and have a bit more freedom. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side for a free strategy call.